What's up, everybody? Rattlehead 50222 here, the Soldering Reviewer, and still jamming to my Megadeth Super Collider. Yeah, still kicks ass, guys. I really do like it. I really do dig it. I'm here today to talk about heavy metal and the direction it's heading, that it's been heading. Back in the day, we had, when I was growing up in the, late 80s, early 90s, and, even up to about, probably about 10 years ago, they had a show called Headbangers Ball, which I'm sure a lot of you know. And, sorry, turn this down just a hair. I don't want to drown out my actual voice. It's one of those deals where it exposed bands. Exposed bands to kids and to everybody. Who was the next big thing? And in the result of that, bands followed suit. They would see, I'm not saying Headbangers Ball played all really good stuff, because sometimes they played Warrant and stuff like that, and I'm not dogging that band. Just for instance, I wasn't into the glam rock. But they would play anything from Poison to Napalm Death, and it was really cool. And then they would have bands on there and interview, and a lot of bands got their got their stardom on there. They got seen, heard. They made it big, and bands followed suit because they had a sound to listen to. Nowadays, there's the internet, but it doesn't do as good of a job, I do not believe. Nowadays, I don't know how to say this without saying it negative, and I'm not trying to be negative, because I'm not downing any musicians. I can't play an instrument. I've always wanted to and can't. So when I say this, I'm not downing any musicians. I'm not downing any type of music. I just am wondering, why is the music these days going in the direction of really good musicians playing really hard, heavy stuff? And there's new genres. There's black metal and just shit I've never heard. I'm more of thrash, hard metal, hardcore, power groove type. I'm in them, in that mix. If it gets any heavier than Lamb of God, it's over for me. I'm not really into that, and that's what I'm trying to get to. Bands like Lamb of God is like the new Pantera, but you have the majority of bands that are trying to either mimic that sound or do something like it, but scream at the top of their lungs, and it sounds so terrible. And don't get me wrong, I'm not on here bashing it. It's just my opinion. I don't understand the direction of metal's heading in what your parents always, parents used to always say, oh, it's the devil, it's Satan, it's this, that, and the other. And you have bands just literally screaming, and it just doesn't make any sense. I like to be able to sit down and understand what you're saying, to be able to sing along with it. And, if you can't really sing along the Deicide, or, and they was actually alright, for, they're legends now, but, Armin Amarth and however you say their name, there's bands like that I'm not understanding. Avenged Sevenfold, I'm just trying to think of, did they hear Korn and think, okay, we're going to try to do a Jonathan Davis voice? And all these bands have really good musicians and play really well music, really good rounded music, real tight, really tight riffs, play really good. But when the singer starts to sing, you just off. I'm trying to figure out where they got the screamo thing. Where did that come in to factor? Death metal's always been around, but some of these bands that are doing it now, it's not death metal, and it's just awful. The musicians ain't bad. The singer's just screaming at the top of his lungs for no reason. And I firmly believe it's because they have no direction. They're just thinking, okay, this sounds cool, this is hardcore, this has got balls, and if you don't scream, it ain't got no balls to it. kind of taken from the Pantera mantra of, fucking fuck everything, it's got to be badass. You could do that to a certain extent, but I mean, screaming to where you can't understand, and you got these wonderful musicians in the background playing these wonderful riffs, and you're thinking, oh my god, these guys are going to be kick-ass, and then the dude opens his mouth and ruins the whole song. That's happening a lot, and I firmly believe it's because we don't have shows like Headbangers Ball anymore. And I know there's other shows out there, that metal show and stuff like that, but it ain't the same, man. Headbangers Ball was in its own league, and it exposed bands for who they were. And everybody watched it. Everybody watched it Saturday night. They didn't go out, sit at home, and watch Headbangers Ball. And, they got to see these big bands coming up. Priest, Maiden, Pantera was starting up, Megadeth. And, and they watched them. And then everybody had an influence to do it. So, and it seems like these days the only bands that are playing, and I don't know how else to put this other than saying, I'm not going to say playing good music. I'm just going to say playing music that you can understand, as the bands that were doing it back then. Pantera, Dimebag Darrell, may he rest in peace. Rest in peace, sorry. Pantera's not around, but they would still probably have, reconciled and been making music. It just seems like metal's taking a direction for the worst. Now, I've heard a couple of bands recently. Violet Society, they're from Toronto, Canada, and another band from Toronto, Canada called The Worship. Them two bands kick ass. They're really unknown in the U.S., but I really encourage you to check them out because they're making music kind of like the Big Four. They're making music that you can understand, you can listen to, relate to, and it ain't all gloom and doom. There's not too many bands that's come out in the past 10, 15 years really that's truly impressed me, other than The Worship. Violet Society's great, but again, The Worship is the Metallica of Canada. I mean, they are really good, and it just seems like bands today metal today is going in a different direction. I know it's a new time and age. It seems like thrash is dying, and you have this new shit, emo, and why is everybody so sad and want to kill themselves and cut themselves, and what is up with that? I didn't go through that shit as a kid. Grow out of it. And then these bands are playing this garbage, man, this progressive shit that don't even make sense, man. I'm just going to call it how it is, man. It's going in the wrong direction, and it's that direction it's going into is going to make fans like me not want to buy the shit. When the older bands like Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, Testament, Exodus, Creator, fucking, all them guys, when they stop making music, man, I'm going to stop buying music because this shit nowadays coming out, man, is no good. It's really not in any count. I'm sorry to say it. If you have to scream at the top of your lungs to think that your music's cool, you need to reevaluate it. Listen to these bands, The Worship, The Violet Society, American Overdose. Listen to them, and that's the way metal should be going. It shouldn't be going into the, damn, that guy can play really good music and blah. It just don't make any fucking sense. I understand Pantera when they screamed and shit, but it wasn't a constant scream, man. These guys are screaming like they're in death metal, and they're not playing death metal, and it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't fit together. I'm just wondering where I'm worried about metal, because I'm going to listen to metal to the day I die, but it may not be the metal that's going to come out, and I may have to accept that fact. But I want to know your all's thoughts and opinions. Does everyone think the same way I do? I'm sure there's bands out there that I haven't heard. I'm talking about mainstream bands that's in the public eye right now. That's real big. You know what I'm saying? Name a couple that's good. Tell me, please, because I am lost. I'm stuck in listening to, I dig Machine Head, and and Fear Factor, like I said, you know, thrash, power groove, hardcore metal stuff. I dig that. But them bands I just named has been out for 20 years, 30 years. Nothing new that's mainstream is any good. And if there is, please turn me on. Or we need to find out what's wrong, what's going on. Is there no inspiration anymore? Is folks just making shit to think, well, it's so easy. There's so many record companies that it's easy to make your own record now. They just making some. I don't know what's going on, but I know this: there hasn't been a mainstream band, a big name band come out in a long time. Maybe Slipknot, and they even sold out. Really, I mean, I don't even like them anymore. I'd really dug their second album, Iowa, but then they turned into the Metallica Black Album to me, and they went straight downhill. So. And that's just my opinion. I'm not dogging them. I mean, they're still okay, but again, other than them, there really hasn't been a big name band that hit the scene that's any fucking good, and they've been out for a while. So, like I said, man, bands these days just they don't put effort into it. It don't seem like there's no integral guitar playing, and the bands that are really good, like the Worship, Violet Society. Doesn't get heard, doesn't get signed, doesn't get playtime. You know, they're stuck on YouTube with a few listeners that catch on to them, and it's really sad, man. I would encourage my listeners, please tell me what your thoughts are. Do you think it's due to the fact of Headbangers Ball, they don't have a direction or like an idol, like they see him on TV and say like for instance, they see Guns N' Roses, wow, I want to be like Guns N' Roses, and then they do it. You know, they don't have the vision, the visual effect of, wow, I want to be like that band. You know, if you know what I'm trying to say. If not, you know, it is what it is. But I just want to know your thoughts, guys. What do you think the direction of metal's going? Where do you think it's going to be in 10 years when these big bands stop making music, man? They're not going to make music forever. I mean, it's not going to happen. I wish it could, but they're just not, you know, and it's a shame. And I want to have some bands to listen to when these guys stop. And so far, I haven't heard of anybody any good. Yeah, there's nothing on the radio they play right now that I can listen to. Nothing on the radio. The top 40's terrible. So, if you all can turn me on to some music, cool. But if they scream, and I don't mean like a Phil Anselmo scream. I'm talking about like, if you're screaming like death metal constantly, I don't want to hear it. Because it's not good. And that's not metal to me. That's death metal. That's not what I like to listen to. I like to jam to some shit like, you know, like Nevermore. And you know, I mean, it can scream, man. But I'm talking about like just... There's a difference in screaming and singing, singing, and then just not being able to sing, period. And you guys know what I'm trying to say. So, if you can name a couple, turn me on, guys. I'm begging you, because metal to me's dying. I hate it. You know, I really encourage you all, if you haven't heard the Worship, American Overdose, and especially the Worship. The guys are amazing. Listen to the song Never Afraid. It'll blow your mind. You'll think Metallica 1. It sounds kind of like Metallica 1, but it's not Metallica 1. It's not even close. It's different, and they kick ass, man. You know, that's the music direction that bands should be going. And for that, guys, I've talked enough. I want your thoughts, comments, suggestions. Thanks. Rattlehead 5022, the Stuttering Reviewer, out of here. Subscribe. The rest of fuck on, everybody.